What's up, you guys? It's Ben and welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything there is relating to selling on Amazon. Enough talking about theory. In today's video, what I want to do is share you my journey from 0 to £1 million on Amazon FBA in under 3 years. In this video, I wanted to share with you exactly what happened each step of the way. I have broken down this 2.5 years period in 4 segments, and I'm going to go through each and every single segment and tell you about how exactly things went, where I was in my business life, what I learned, because I think it's as important to share not just the theory knowledge that we all learn on YouTube, but also my own personal perspective and my own experience of what it was like selling on Amazon back in 2018 compared to what it is now back in 2021 with many more products and many other parts going on. It is important for me to share this with you guys, and it's not necessarily to show off, but it's more important for me to actually sometimes even motivate you guys, because only a few years ago I was working a 9-to-5 job making around £2,000 a month, and I never ever thought in my wildest dreams that I'll be able to run an Amazon FBA business and actually reach the 7-figure mark. With that being said, guys, if you are interested in selling on Amazon, please don't forget to check the links down below for my own personal mentorship. If you're looking for help, whether it's product research, speaking to suppliers, avoiding those big newbie mistakes that most people tend to make, then I do provide a personal mentorship, which I'll leave a link down below. Otherwise, guys, if you want to use some of the business tools that I use, such as Helium 10, the perfect product research tools that I use, where you'll get 50% off the first 2 months actually. Awesome, the best e-commerce accountants out there that I could possibly find, and Tide, the perfect business bank account to set off your Amazon FBA business. With that being said, guys, let's get straight to the video. Okay, so as you can see, my Amazon FBA journey started in June of 2018. However, the first time I've ever heard about Amazon was around February of 2018. I basically heard about quite a few people making a lot of money selling on Amazon FBA, and what really appealed to me is the fact that they didn't have to deal with any of the shipments, any of the inventory. Everything was done by Amazon. And I personally found this very appealing, because I never really wanted to be bogged down by running a business. I've heard so many people actually saying that when you take on a business, when you actually start running a business, the business runs you. You don't run the business. You tend to work in the business as opposed to onto the business. Whereas here on Amazon FBA, I realized that if I get majority of the work get done by Amazon FBA, I will then be able to focus on growing the business, and it doesn't take many people effectively to start off, which is why I found this really appealing. However, when it came on to start selling on Amazon, the very first product came 3 months later. So for all of you guys that are doing product research and it's taking you a couple of weeks, it does take a long time, especially when you overanalyze, which is exactly what I had done, and get into that analysis paralysis stage. I started off with eventually with a product that I just wanted to test out the business model. It was a charcoal toothpaste, effectively, something that I ordered literally 20 units of from China via air, because after doing so much analysis and so much product research, I just wanted to see if this business model actually works. And it did. And then the next product, the first proper product where I started making money on, was released in the month of July. Now, it's keen to tell you guys that before I started, I had absolutely no business experience whatsoever at all. I didn't run a full-fledged business. I don't have any experience at all. I was literally just finished out of university. I was working in recruitment for a few years, and I had no experience of dealing with money or anything like that at all. And it was actually really scary to buy the first proper batch of stock. The first product, the sample product, wasn't a problem at all, because that sent me back around £50 or so. However, the very first proper shipment was around £1,200, and given my salary was around 1.6 to 1.8 thousand pounds at the time, that was literally a month of salary being paid to somebody in China who I've never seen, barely spoken to, barely can understand, for a product that I don't know much about. It was a very scary, and in my personal opinion, also a risky step to make. But it is something that I justified by saying I'd rather risk it and lose the money than always live my life saying, what if I did try that and never haven't tried? So I did that, and it tended to pay off. Also, guys, what I would like to tell you is that the learning experience, the learning curve in the very beginning is really high. I have graduated from university, I've done A-levels, but I personally think that the learning curve on Amazon is right up there with university degree, because there is so much to learn, especially if you have got no previous business experience beforehand. You need to learn a lot about product research. You need to learn a lot about how Amazon works in general. You need to know how to manage your finances and how to build a business from the ground up. And more importantly, it's not just the business side of things, it's also the mental side of things, how to deal with the stress, how to deal with what happens, for example, when products don't sell. What do you do? Also, learning about PPC was another big subject for me because I had no previous experience with advertising, whether it's Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever. However, in this part of the year, this part of the half year where I made £25,000 in revenue, this was the moment where I actually think this could actually work. Up until then, I was skeptical. I was doing this hoping it could work, but I didn't actually know. However, after releasing my second product and actually starting to make a profit margin of around £2.50 for each and every single item sold, and I was selling around 10 to 15 a day, I realized that this could potentially be something that could help me leave my 9 to 5, or at least be a good side hustle that could increase my income at that particular time. And then, last but not least, Sarah, my long-term girlfriend, left her job to actually work on Amazon full-time towards the end of the year. Now, personally thinking and personally speaking, I think it was actually too early for her to do so. I think we should have continued to work both on our jobs, so it would be a lot easier for me because we only went to a single income all of a sudden. However, being able to work on Amazon full-time, Sarah was able to actually launch many more products, do much more in-depth product research, and she was able to speak to suppliers for much longer, get the better prices, and so on. Now, in the first year, we made £25,000 in revenue. The profit was around £8,000, but it's not that what matters. What mattered the most is the fact that we have come across something, we have found something that we believe could potentially let us leave our 9 to 5 and actually let us and allow us to start working on our own business on our own terms, in our own time, so to speak. Now, 2019, this is when the scaling of the business started effectively, guys. And this year we actually made £207,000 in revenue, and the profit was calculated at around £80,000. So it was a really, really good year and a tenfold increase almost in revenue compared to the first half a year, so to speak. Now, the biggest issue in this particular year was cash flow. And this is something all of you guys are going to come across if you're starting off on a low budget, because Amazon effectively pays you around 2 to 4 weeks after the product has been sold. And if you're running on a low budget and you continue want to reinvest the money back into the business, you want to grow as quickly as possible. But with that delay, you have to wait, continuously wait and wait and wait until somebody come back to you with the profit, so then you can reinvest into the new business. This is where we went from 4 products a year to, I think, 17 products by the end of the year. And the biggest obstacle for us not growing any faster was the lack of cash. And this is where I tell some people, if they can put more money in from their savings, then do so, because you already have figured out the business model, you kind of know how it works, and you can put more of your hard-earned money because you know you should be seeing a greater return in the long term. Now, this is the year also where I made quite a few very expensive and painful mistakes, because as you start dealing with money, more and more money, more and more pressure, more and more stress, more mistakes come into play as well. And I'm not going to go into detail about all of the mistakes that I made, but for example, I went into more expensive products. Okay, instead of selling products that are around £5 to £10, I went into products that are making £30, okay? And my reasoning was as well, the work is the same. You get to make the same product listing, you get to do the same product pictures and so on. Why don't, instead of selling 5 products at £5 to £10, why not just go for one more expensive one and start scaling the business that much faster? Well, what I didn't realize is that those products I have to actually, sample them. I have to figure out whether they work, what kind of reviews are they going to get, and so on. And this particular product, which was a webcam, a spy webcam, effectively was completely garbage, and I ended up paying around £20 per unit, and I had to sell at break even to make my money back. And that was a very, very painful mistake, because all of that cash that I saved up from the profit, so to speak, went into that one product, and it held me back from investing into various other products. However, it was a painful mistake, but something that I now learned and I can pass on to my students not to make again. Okay, also, this was the year when I had to bring on more people into the business. First things first, I had to bring in accountants. Now that I reached over £85,000 in revenue, I had to bring in accountants for corporation tax and VAT, something again that I personally have never ever dealt with before. I also had to bring in my family as well to help me with the shipments, scheduling them, potentially selling the refunded stock onto car boot sales to reduce the wastage as much as possible. So it wasn't just me and my girlfriend working on the business anymore. Quite a few other people came into play as well to help me run the business and grow it that much faster. And also, this was the year when my 100% focus was on Amazon FBA. I was still doing my 9 to 5 while Sarah was working on Amazon full time. However, to be completely honest, I wasn't focusing on my job that much. I was just doing the 9 to 5, but my head was always focused on Amazon FBA. How can I grow the business that much faster? What is the next product that I can find? How can I potentially leave my 9 to 5 as soon as possible? And that brings me on to January 2020 till December 2020. This was my biggest year up to date, where the revenue hit £735,000. And of course, the main reason for that wasn't because of my excellent experience and knowledge and all that sort of stuff. It's because of COVID. The truth of the matter fact is that COVID was extremely beneficial for Amazon because people were locked down at home and therefore had no other choice but to do their daily shopping or weekly shopping or whatever online. Okay, so except for essentials and groceries, anything that you wanted to buy, you had to go online. And Amazon, of course, is going to be the very first thing you think of when it comes to shopping online. And as a result, we saw a massive surge in demand for pretty much every product we were selling. And that included home and garden, fitness, toys and games, anything that we were selling. All of a sudden, the price had to be increased dramatically because we were going to run out of stock extremely quickly. And because we were running out of stock extremely quickly, shipping issues came around. Because of such surge in demand, shipping prices tended to go up. The Chinese obviously had to be on lockdown as well. So when they came out of lockdown, more and more people wanted to buy as many products of China as possible. And with so much demand, the shipping prices went up and the delay started happening as well, which really annoyed me, especially in the Q4 when some of my biggest selling products were not being in stock, which is why I believe I missed out on about £100,000 in sales towards the end of that year. Also, this was the year, I believe, where the stricter storage thresholds were introduced on Amazon. This is when Amazon realized they don't have infinite warehouse storage effectively, and because of the surge of the demand, they have to limit people and limit each and every single Amazon FBA seller to a certain amount of storage in their warehouse. No longer could people just send any amount of inventory into Amazon and just wait for it to sell out. Okay, now you have to be planning ahead, and instead of sending 1,000 units into the warehouse, which is what I used to do, now I have to drip feed the inventory much slower to make sure that I don't reach those storage limits via the IPI score. Now, the good side of this is the fact that there is now no more cash flow issues. We have now gathered enough profit effectively, and where we actually can introduce as many products as possible. There are now no more cash flow issues, but what there were is time issues. Okay, it's now because I'm still working by myself with my girlfriend and a few other people, we needed more and more hands on deck to introduce as many products as possible. The money was there, but time wasn't, and that was another issue that I personally have to overcome and still have to overcome to this day, because I'm very struggling when it comes to letting some of the parts of the business go and giving it to somebody else to do it for me, because I personally am always of the mindset, if you can do something right, always do it yourself. But I believe now that this is not the right mindset to have, and in order for a business to scale to 7-8 figures potentially, you have to let some parts of the business, maybe not the most important parts of the business, go to somebody else, whether that's a virtual assistant, a member of staff, and so on. And last but not least, I got fired because of COVID-19. I lost my job, unfortunately, and this was the decision that I had to make, whether I'm looking for another job, 9 to 5, or I now work on Amazon full time, which is exactly what I decided to do. So instead of me making voluntarily the decision to leave my 9 to 5, I was effectively pushed into Amazon FBA. And with that being said, guys, you know, at the end of the day, it is something that I couldn't control. If I had the choice, I probably would have stayed working a 9 to 5, probably for another few months, but I would have left to sell on Amazon full time at that point anyway. However, guys, what's very, very important to stress is that up until this point, up until the August of 2020, not a single penny, and I repeat, not a single penny was taken out of the business as our salary to pay ourselves. Every single penny was reinvested back into the business. And this is something that's really, really difficult to do. And it's much easier said than done, because you're seeing vast amounts of money coming into the business. However, you're still living off that £2,500 salary each and every single month for 2 people as well. This is really hard to do, and this is what a lot of other YouTube gurus really don't tell you, because they don't reach this particular level. Usually people, what they do is they reach the level of sort of 5 products and stuff, and then start teaching others how to sell on Amazon, as opposed to doubling down on Amazon like I did. And now we move on to this year, January of 2021 till present. Now, revenue so far has been £330,000. I personally think we're going to be reaching around somewhat the same level of last year. However, this time is much more difficult to do, because the country now is effectively opening back up. People now have more choice. With good weather as well, people are leaving out their house and to do their shopping in high street retail shops, to spend their money in cafes, restaurants, and so on and so forth. There is now less people behind the computer shopping as there were last year, and as a result of that, our demand for the products that we are currently selling is continuing to decrease. However, that is being offset by the new products that we continue to push out into the market, and therefore giving customers more and more choice. Now also, Amazon FBA, as I said in my previous few videos, has fundamentally changed. No longer can you be doing Amazon FBA from your laptop, whatever in the world, okay? Because of the fundamental changes, basically, where now Amazon requires you to hold majority of the inventory and only drip feed some of the stock into their warehouses, the whole business changes, because now you are in charge of more of the operation side of things. You are in charge of the storage. You need to really think about the size of the products that you're buying as well, because getting something that is, you know, toothpicks, for example, 1,000 toothpicks are going to really be much smaller than 1,000 bath sets or something like that. Okay, so you really have to think about the size of the product that you're getting, because getting 10 boxes and getting 100 boxes can really make a difference to your storage cost as well, which is something that I had to learn the hard way. Also, this is the year now that I'm really focusing on diversifying my income streams. Unlike other YouTubers that start to think about diversifying, starting to do courses and YouTube and various other things when they make 5 products to selling on Amazon, I am diversifying later. Okay, I'm now diversifying potentially into buying other properties, potentially investing into other companies and stocks and shares, which are what I've been doing over the last half a year. And I'm thinking of other ways to diversify my income, because the truth of the matter is the fact that I am quite scared. If Amazon FBA closes their services to third-party sellers, a big part of my income would be going down the drain in a matter of seconds, okay? And this is something that is very scary to me, and this is something that I really want to avoid, because the last thing I want to do is go back to my 9 to 5. So instead of reinvesting each and every single penny back into the business after salaries, we are now taking a little bit even more money to potentially invest into stocks, potentially invest into property, and various other projects that we have currently going on. And last but not least, guys, is I had to move into a much bigger warehouse. And this is the real applications of Amazon FBA. This is what a lot of people won't tell you, but seeing the amount of stock that you actually have, 40 products, and each of them having around 500 to 1,000 units in stock, is a big problem to have, because moving those from one warehouse to another is not an easy task, especially when you don't have a van, and especially when you have to rent that van at £15 an hour, and therefore get as many people together to move as many of those boxes from one place to another. This is something really difficult, and this is something that I personally get to do still myself, and something that I experience as well, because I've been selling on Amazon now for quite some time. And instead of just focusing on teaching other people how to sell on Amazon, I still prioritize myself on the Amazon FBA business itself as opposed to anything else. So with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you found it useful, and I really hope you found it motivational, because at the end of the day, like I said, I started off with as little as £1,200 and I'm now in excess of 7 figures throughout my Amazon FBA journey. If you did like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my mentorships. Like I said, I'm really here to help you out to start off your Amazon FBA business, and for you to may not necessarily leave 9 to 5, but at least provide you with a side income to make your life that little bit easier with the country now opening back up. That being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you soon.